Hello, I am Erin Gerke. I am with Root and Canopy Healing. I do natural health and I teach a lot of different classes. I help people with nutrition support and with different things that they're going through in their life. I also offer energy work and massage therapy. And today I am teaching a class on how to make fire cider. Fire cider is a tonic, I would say. It's a fermented drink that contains a lot of different roots and different vegetables that ferment together to create a really healing tonic for when you're not feeling well. Some people take this daily in little micro doses, so it keeps their immune system really healthy during a particular season. Maybe their kids are going back to school and their kids are getting sick all of the time. So they're kind of giving this to their children, in microdoses every day. My daughter really likes to take it just when she's starting to feel under the weather. So however you take fire cider is totally up to you. I wouldn't take like a full shot every day. I would take like a tablespoon or a teaspoon if you're going to do it daily. I will start with just the basic ingredients, but in the kitchen today, I also have some different things that I've put in it over time, and you can kind of build it on your own. So the base for fire cider is an onion. I'm using a white onion today and not a Spanish onion. Horseradish root. This is what it looks like cleaned up. This is what it looks like when it's, before you've made it pretty. I'm actually going to plant this. It started to sprout on the bottom, so I'm going to plant that in my garden later. I also have ginger root. Ginger looks like this, and then when you peel it, it's this nice white, pretty color. I'm going to add turmeric today. This is not necessarily always in the base, but it is something that I love as an anti-inflammatory. And we have garlic. I will be putting in a whole bulb of garlic today. So you'll have several different pieces of that in there. And I will be adding in some black peppercorn because it helps activate the anti-inflammatory properties in the turmeric today. Apple cider vinegar is a must. This is helping pull out all of the goodness within these things during your fermentation. So just know that apple cider vinegar is a really key piece to that. I will also be adding in honey. This is not a requirement, but I think it makes the taste just a little bit more tolerable. And honey is really great as an antibacterial and antifungal, and it has so many other really great benefits health-wise. So I just add honey into it because a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Why not add honey into fire cider? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm making a really big jar. If you're going to make something a little smaller, only adding in a couple of cloves of garlic, you're really just wanting to make sure that you're filling the container with your media or your different vegetables. And then you're going to top that just so that it covers all of the vegetables with apple cider vinegar. So whatever size jar that you are planning on using, just make sure when you add the apple cider vinegar that it covers that. So let's get chopping. I'm going to do a rough chop on my onion today. You don't need to make it pretty because it's just going to go in, but you do need it small enough to fit into the jar. And then you just place everything into the jar. With a jar this size, I'm going to let it ferment and I'm going to give it away during the holiday season to my friends and family. I put them typically in these little bottles. I label it for people and then I give them away as gifts. So if you have, this is an old honey jar that I had bought in honey from a local farmer. And I just use this now as my giant fermentation jar. Horseradish can be a little tough to chop. Again, I like to do just like a little rough chop. It doesn't have to be beautiful or perfect. And you're just going to add it in. I remember the first time my daughter tried fire cider. She did not like it. But she knows that it works. So she will take a little shot when she's not feeling well. and she'll go back to work or back to school, and she's, you know, she's not down for a week like her friends are. And everybody asks her, she's like, oh, I take this weird thing that my mom made. So your kids will also say the same thing. Next, again, we're just going to chop up the ginger into little pieces, or little chunks, I should say. So about this big, and just add it in. I like a lot of ginger in mine. Ginger can be a little spicy. Everything in here can be just a little spicy. And I think that's another reason I really enjoy putting in the honey. But when you're not feeling well, a lot of the different things that are going to help kind of eat or kick that bacteria infections are the spicier things. A lot of people don't know that horseradish is a mucinogenic. What it does is it clears nasal passageways. So it helps clear the mucus out of that. And it also has a really interesting inflammatory response. What that does is it causes the body to inflame in very specific ways that are healthy. So there's a difference between an anti-inflammatory and an inflammatory. Horseradish inflames in an area to help promote healing. With the garlic, you're actually going to smash the garlic. You're not going to chop it. So if you've never smashed it, garlic before, it can be kind of slippery. So you'll want to make sure that you have a pretty flat knife edge, and you're going to just firmly press your palm onto it and give it a little press. The bigger your garlic, the more of a press you're going to need. But that just helps open up the garlic, and you don't have to chop it into tiny little pieces, and keeps it pretty whole. Okay, so that is the base. I'm gonna add a couple of peppercorns in there today. That takes too long. We're just gonna open it. Cinnamon, I'm gonna add a cinnamon stick. Cinnamon is really delicious for digestive issues. I'm only gonna put, well, let's do 2. Fire cider is not an absolute science, so you get to play a lot with what you're putting in there and make it based on how you feel and what's going on with your family. I've put in jalapenos before. I'm not going to put in jalapenos today. They are really great at that congestion aspect. I have a batch with jalapenos in it, so I'm going to avoid that today and want more of just that anti-inflammatory, bacterial, antifungal in this batch of fire cider. Next, I'm gonna actually add the honey before I add my apple cider vinegar, because my honey is not as important for how it's gonna cover all of the different elements. Again, I kind of add what feels right, but typically in a jar this size, I'm gonna add about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 of a cup of honey. The reason that we make fire cider now versus when we are sick is because there's a fermentation process. What fermentation does is it is a slow process that helps pull all of the goodness out of all of these different things using apple cider vinegar. But that means it's going to sit for a while. Up to 7 weeks is what you'll need for your fermentation. A lot of people will put cabbage on the top of anything that they're going to ferment to keep all of their vegetables or things that are in their fermentation under submerged in their apple cider vinegar. If you're like me, and do not buy a whole cabbage just for 1 leaf, or go to the grocery store and harvest only 1 leaf of cabbage. I just shake mine every day, and then that makes sure that all of the stuff that's in there is going to stay submerged or wet. Once it starts to dry, it is going to start to mold, unfortunately. So you're just going to give it a good little shake, get everything all mixed up in there. And this is what you'll do every day for 7 weeks. Or buy a cabbage leaf and just shake it every once in a while. I'll let everything settle, kind of see where I'm at as far as that apple cider vinegar is. And I might add a little bit more because not everything is staying underneath the apple cider vinegar. If you don't have a cabbage leaf or don't want to go harvest it from the store like I don't like to, you could purchase this little weight. So if you're planning on fermenting, even occasionally, these little weights are really nice for a lot of different things. I've even used them just to hold down tablecloths in a windy day. So you can multi-purpose these weights. But this weight would just simply go in, rest on the top of your jar, and you'll see that it kind of just pushes everything down slightly. And then that way you don't have to worry about it coming up because the weight as everything pushes up just keeps everything below the surface of that apple cider vinegar. So that's just another option. Again, not necessary. Just make sure you're shaking it every day. And you'll make sure that your apple cider vinegar doesn't mold or get anything funky on the top. And then you just set it in a cool, dark place for about 6 to 7 weeks, and then you can bottle them into little bottles. So you'll strain it. I like to just use a regular colander, and then I pour that colander into, I have a pitcher that I like to use, and you just strain out all of the vegetables that are in your apple cider vinegar, and then you get to put them in whatever little containers you want. Mason jars, you can buy these fun little things. None of it has to stay in the fridge because it's already fermented. It can be on the shelf. It's shelf stable. I just choose to put mine in the fridge because I think that spicy things go down a little bit better cold. So it's completely up to you on what you add in, but your base again is going to be horseradish, onion, garlic, and anything else you want to put in it. So today we did horseradish, garlic, onion, ginger, turmeric, honey, peppercorn, cinnamon sticks. And that's it. Again, I'm Erin Gerke, and I'm with Root and Canopy Healing. If you would love to host a class, personal classes, I teach those as well. And I also do massage, energy work, aromatherapy, homeopathy. I do iridology, natural health healing. And yeah, I would love to help you on your healing journey. You can visit my website at www.rootandcanopyhealing.com. You can also email me at erin@rootandcanopyhealing.com to schedule an appointment if that works better for you. Thank you.